This is graphing a parabola, and let's start with the basic y equals x squared. Let's just do y equals x squared. So when you graph a function and it doesn't have a moving anchor point or vertex, then your x values will be -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. So sometimes they're given to you and sometimes they're not. But what you're going to do is you're going to plug it into the equation y equals x squared. So instead of saying y equals x squared, let's take our x value. In this case, our x value is -2. So -2 squared is -2 times -2, which is +4. On the next one, we're going to say y equals -1 squared. -1 times -1 is +1. Y equals 0 squared is 0. Y equals 1 squared. 1 times 1 is 1. And y equals 2 squared. 2 times 2 is 4. Now, at some point, you'll be able to do this in your head, so you don't have to show all this work over here. You you can just do it in your head, and I don't know why that won't erase, but um, it's not bad if you put it there. So then you graph the points. -2, so you're going to go over 2 on the x-axis and up 4 on the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me use a different color. This one's going to be hard to read. So -2, 4. And we have -1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, and 2, 4. Now, when you connect them, make sure it makes a U because a parabola is a U-shaped graph, a quadratic. Um, it makes a U, and you need 5 points because it's not a line, it's a curve, and the 5 points will help you determine what that's going to look like. So now let's say we have y equals 2x squared, and we're going to graph this parabola. So again, there's no shift in vertex or the anchor point. In a parabola, it is a vertex. I'm just going to call it a vertex. So we're going to do -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Now in this case, we're going to do 2 times -2 squared. So order of operations says we do parentheses and then exponents. We're going to exponents first. -2 times -2 is +4, times 2 is 8. And then we're going to do 2 times -1 squared. So 2 times -1 times -1 is 1, and this gives us 2. We're going to do 2 times 0 squared, which is 2 times 0, which is 0. We're going to do 2 times 1 squared, which is 2 times 1, which is 2. And 2 times 2 squared, so 2 times 4, which is 8. Now my graph's a little small, so I'm going to count my x-axis by 2's, so I need to label them accordingly. But my y-axis I'm going to count by 2's. My x-axis we're going to count by 1's. So when you do, you need to label your axis. If you don't label, it's understood that you're counting by ones. Okay, now we're ready. -2, 8. -1, 2, 0, 0, 1, 2, and 2, 8. It does make our pretty U-shaped graph, so that's always a good thing. So let's say we have a negative on there. Y equals -1/2 x squared. Now, because I have a 1/2, it's going to be a little tricky, and I could use -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. But I'd like it to be even so that when I square them, I have pretty numbers. So I'm going to throw the normal ones in there, 1, 2. But if it were up to me, I would not be using these two. And I'll show you why in a minute. Now, when you plug in -4, we're going to say -1/2 times -4 squared. So this is -1/2 times 16, which is -8. Now we're going to do -2 squared in this equation. So we have -1/2 times 4, which is -2. We're going to do y equals negative 1/2 times negative 1, which is negative 1 squared, which is negative 1/2 times 1, which is negative 1/2. Not my favorite point to graph, can you tell? So negative 1/2 times 0 squared is negative 1/2 times 0, which is 0. Y equals negative 1/2 times 1 squared, which is negative 1/2 times 1, which is negative 1/2. Y equals negative 1/2 times 2 squared, which is negative 1/2 times 4, which is negative 2. And y equals negative 1/2 times 4 squared, which is negative 1/2 times 16, which is negative 8. Now we need our graph paper square, but I need different graph paper. Now we can graph these points. So we have negative 4, negative 8. I think I counted right. Negative 2, negative 2, negative 1, negative 1/2. And you kind of got to estimate that. 0, 0, positive 1, negative 1/2, 2, negative 2, and 4, negative 8. So you can see we have a U-shaped graph, which is always a good thing. It's supposed to be. Y equals x squared is a U-shaped graph according to our library of functions. So this is the first part of graphing a parabola. Graphing an absolute value is very much the same, just you use absolute value, which is always positive, and it makes a V. So I hope you understand. Let me know if you have any questions.